7th, 8th month of this pandemic. And I think we're into a new phase really with where everybody is at. So where do we start?
Well, I think that a good place to start is just to recognize that if you're feeling unmotivated, if frustrated, if you're feeling a little bit down, it's normal.
So how do we find the passion and the joy that a lot of people do have for their work, but don't have in this exhausting time?
I'm going to start actually by sharing a tool with you. There's some things you can control and some things that we have no control over right now. The tool is called the sphere of influence. And if you think about two circles, a smaller circle in the middle and a larger circle around it. And let's say you had a piece of paper and you wrote at the top of the paper, my sphere of influence. What I would ask you to do is literally write in the larger circle everything that's out of your sphere of influence. Why people are really stuck right now is they're focusing on stuff in that first larger circle that are out of their sphere of influence. Think about things that you have control over in your life right now. What would they be? For me is my mindset. The first strategy is to write that list and focus on things you can control that are in your sphere of influence. The second piece is shifting your perspective. You totally have control over that. Here's where it gets a little bit tricky. With each of us, we have something called an emotional scale. And right at the bottom of our emotional scale is fear. And right at the top of our emotional scale is joy. If you're in that place of fear and tremendous uncertainty, you're not going to get to joy like that by just shifting your perspective. If you can get from fear to at least content, that's one step in the right direction.
Can you explain what you mean when you talk about the COVID continuum?
On this end of the continuum is a lot of fear and stress and anxiety. And this end of the continuum is a very laissez-faire attitude. Think about an office scenario. I have people who are on this end who are like, we're all back in the office. And other people who are saying, over my dead body. It's not good or bad, right or wrong where I am on this continuum. If you're at this end where you've got a high level of anxiety, you need to figure out what you need to do specifically to move you. And I'm not saying you're going to get all the way to this end. I'm saying, could you move a little closer to the middle? It's really common right now to feel stuck. Focus on one area of their life, personal relationship, work, weight, and set a really small goal to start getting you unstuck. I like to look at other people around me. Maybe their job interests you or their role in their organization interests you. Pick up the phone, book a Zoom meeting with them. Just say, I kind of want to do what you do. If you could recommend I do one thing to get unstuck, what would it be? Create one baby step that you can move towards and take action. And building community around that. That's why things like the Running Room or Weight Watchers have been so successful, because they create community for us.
I love this. Build community around your goals.
The first thing you have to do to start thriving, take care of yourself. You know Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Layer 1 is self-care. Eat well, sleep well, and exercise. Step 2, you can focus on your emotional well-being. Then the next layer would be more around self-actualization, right? It's layered, but you have to start at the bottom layer first.
It's this idea of put on your own oxygen mask first. Self-care is the oxygen mask.
I used to ride my bike maybe once a year. Now it's 3-4 times a week.
Wow.
Love it. Fresh air, exercise, I come back feeling refreshed. And I will do it until the weather turns.
Oftentimes, if we are just able to realize that the feelings are what we're looking for and not the actual things, I think it just might be easier to connect with what it is that we really need.
You've hit on a really interesting point, which is the whole concept of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is understanding my emotions and how my emotions impact me and the people around me. What my emotion is in this given moment, and then choosing my behavior, because our emotions, our actions, and our behavior are all connected. It's not our intention that matters. It is our actual behavior.
A lot of people out there who are 50 and they're in a job that is safe, that can easily get them to retirement, and it's just not where their passion lies. Because we change, we evolve.
Your comfort zone is here. Your next thing is out of your comfort zone. You have a choice. Out of your sphere of influence is losing your job. In your sphere of influence is keeping your job or changing your job. So if you're stuck in a job that is unsatisfying, can I say something really blunt? That's your fault.
Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I have no idea where to start. I am financially responsible for providing for my family. How do we deal with those two things?
Call a career coach. Many organizations will actually pay for people to get a coach. There's assessments you can take. Find someone who specializes in that area to help you figure it out.
Have the conversations with other people because you have no idea what's going to spark something. What else? And asking that question, what else?
And I would say, let your emotions guide you. So how do I know if something excites me? Connect with my emotional reaction to it. That's where your intuition will often guide you to a decision to make a shift that is a lot more connected to your soul, to your purpose than your head will make.
I think a lot of people during COVID feel like their choices have been taken away. Understandably, the variety of what was available to us was immense. The variety in the time that I've had to overthink things is really just a distraction. I have really become quite in touch with what I really want, who I really want, when I really want things, and what I value. Whereas if I did not have this time, I would still be wasting time just doing things, not doing the work to make my life better.
This is a really important time for reflection. For me, it's less Netflix, more reading, more podcasts, more time in nature, more time with my family, right? Each of us need to think about what during this time do we want more of in our life and what do we want less of?
I love that. What do we want more of? What do we want less of? We can just answer that one question. That could itself be a springboard.
One is really having a growth mindset. The second is knowing how to coach. The third is prioritizing and delegating. And the fourth is knowing how to lead and manage change. So if you think about having a growth mindset, when we have a fixed mindset, everything's set in stone. When we have a growth mindset, nothing's set in stone. For example, if I have a fixed mindset about my skill set, oh, I can't master that specific thing that I need to do at work. Fixed mindset, I'm not going to be able to master it. I won't because I believe I can. Growth mindset is I stink at it right now, but I'm going to try it and I'm going to work hard at it, right? We need to look at where we're fixed, where we're stuck with our mindset and move to growth. The second area is around coaching. The two types of coaching are formal and informal. And as a leader, you need to be doing both. So formal coaching is that time that you put in your calendar that's consistent with your team. So maybe it's once a week or every other week. And it could sound like, what's on your plate? What's on my plate? What are your priorities this week? And what do you need my help with? Informal coaching is the day-to-day connecting with your team. Texting, how can I help? What's on your plate today? Who do you need me to connect you with? So it's really important as leaders that we're doing both informal and formal coaching right now. Setting goals and prioritizing. It is really challenging for a lot of leaders right now to set long-term goals because we don't know what's going to happen 3 months from now. Think clearly about what you're paid to do right now, today, this week, and set your goals around that, and that'll help you prioritize where you spend your time. Leading and managing change. Many leaders are not taught how to lead and manage change. How do you communicate? How do you uncover resistance around change? What are the 3 barriers to change? And how do you move people beyond those barriers? You don't need to have the answers. You need to have the questions. So I do see a lot of leaders thinking that it's their responsibility as a leader to solve all the problems on their team. It's not. You need to focus at the strategic level. You've hired really smart people in your team. Use those smart people in your team to help you solve the problem. Resilience and agility is one of the most important characteristics that leaders need right now.
And resourcefulness.
Grit is another one.
I'm so glad we had the opportunity to talk about this important stuff in these wild times.